I'll just do Pixie talk this morning.
All right, cool.
Anyway,
I mean,
everyone else will think I'm losing my mind.
I mean, they won't be wrong. So that's okay.
Well, that's totally true.
Yeah.
For anyone who is watching, I have a puppy who can't make her mind up about where she wants to be. So I will put her outside because she is going to get irritating. Don't mind any minute. On we go.
All right.
She does not make decisions easily, that dog. Whatever she decides, it's guaranteed to not be lasting. So, good morning. How are we today?
Good morning. We are awake at 8:15 on a Sunday morning.
Very well done.
I say that, but I've been awake for a wee while, and I know that you have been up and down all night.
Yeah, Phoebes, bless her. I think she got cold last night, and then I think she was hungry, and then she was really pissed off that she was put back to bed, and decided to shout as loudly as she could, and then cry a lot. So I went in eventually because normally she doesn't want to bar of me at night time, which is a bonus because we're going to get up. But by stage,
she was put back to bed. Sorry, that was just
look.
my phone.
I
need to put it on there.
Yeah, so then basically I went in and gave her a cuddle, and she was all like, I'm so sad, mummy, and then wanted like her hand to be stroked until she would go to sleep.
I went in and gave her
it was quite full on, and actually quite interesting that it was a little bit tied into what we're going to talk about today, which is, about worrying what other people think. And my in-laws arrived last night, and there was definitely a moment in my mind where I was like, oh no, what if they hear her cry? Well, they would have heard her crying. What are they going to be thinking? The dreadful parents were leaving her, da, 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 da. And then I actually had a word with myself and was like, quit worrying about it. Even if they do, it's not my problem. And it was a really nice moment to get to. And actually that's something that just generally is one of probably the biggest changes I've made in the last 12 months. Is to be able to stand in the space where I'm like, actually, it doesn't matter what other people think 99% of the time. Every now and then, something will sneak through and make me really sort of really go through it. I mean, every day there'll be something where there'll be a moment where it'll be like, oh, you sort of feel it. But I've learned to very much tune into, find out, is that true? Do I need to worry about that? And then be able to put a pin in it and move on. So that's something that's been really helpful. How do you generally, I mean, we're diving straight in here, but
we are diving straight in. I love that. I love that so much, because that was my first thought when I knew that you had been up all night. I'm like, I bet you got up faster because of your in-laws being there. And then I was like, actually, I'm not 100% sure that Ellie would have done that, and I love that. And like it is one of those things where like parenting is a real prime example. Like we go into a space of feeling such judgment, real or perceived. We get into that space where we feel really judged for making decisions our way. And being able to step into our own power around that and say, actually, this is my truth. This is what I know to be right for me. And I'm prepared to defend that until the cows come home. Like, I will defend that all day, every day, because that is what works for me. That is such a powerful space to be in. And it changes the way that you engage with other people and with the world. Awesome. Hi, Kirsten. Yeah, like, I think I have always been very, very guilty of being worried about what other people think. And so much so that like the best example I have is when I was young, like I think I was still at primary school, so maybe like 9-ish. I was in a choir with all the schools from around the local area, and that there would have been, I think, maybe 250 kids. And afterwards, I gave it my all, as you do. And when afterwards, I went in and saw my grandmother, and she introduced me to one of her friends, and she said, "Oh, this is my granddaughter. You would have heard her over everybody else." And you know what? For years, I couldn't sing in front of other people.
Really?
Like for years, it took me a lot of work to get to the point where I could actually sing in front of people, and I still have issues with it sometimes.
Was
But
it was it coming from a place of love though?
I think it
That,
was.
yeah.
I think it was like she was
'Cause I'm
proud,
pretty
you
sure
know.
that's my grandmother. My grandmother would have said exactly the same, meaning
Yeah, yeah. But in
my
that
granddaughter's the
moment, I
best.
didn't feel
She's the
that.
loudest. She sounds most wonderful. But it's funny, isn't it, how we take
Yeah,
these
yeah,
things
yeah.
on?
I didn't take it in that moment. I took it as a thing where oh, you would have seen her, she stood out, and
Mm,
not like, and there was not any sort of affirmation afterwards that made me recognize that that was a good thing. um and you know, when you come from that space of conditioning where you're not supposed to be seen and you're not supposed to be heard and all of those good things, it really just reinforced for me that that's not what you're supposed to do, and it took me years of undoing.
yeah,
And I love my grandmother very much, and I miss her a lot. And she was always a big, big supporter for me. But that really shaped the way I showed up for a long time because I was terrified of what people would think.
yeah,
And so, you know, like it is one of those things that all of us have examples of situations where we don't show up fully and authentically because of something that we can go back to a root
mm,
years ago. um,
yeah,
and you know, we are by nature conditioned to be a people pleaser. That's the role of women in society traditionally,
yeah.
and if you look at the last few centuries.
I was going to say decade, no centuries.
Yeah.
But actually, you're absolutely right, and it's that whole understanding that we are very much products of what our, the generations that brought us up had
Mhm.
gone through. And I think that's what's quite exciting now for the generations coming, is that we're starting to do this work.
Yeah.
And that means that's changing, that sort of, we're so much more aware of, if you said that to someone, oh, you'd see her because she stood out because she's my daughter and she's what, there would always be like a follow-up affirmation around it rather than it just being
Hmm.
a statement. And I'm sure you're the
Yeah.
same with your boys, but I'm so much more aware of like what I say and what the lasting implications of that could be,
Yeah.
which makes it really fucking hard to parent sometimes. I'm not going to lie, because in the moment,
Well,
all you want
and
to do is
then
be like, "Grr."
right, and then we go into that place of what will other people think about my parenting, and then
Oh
we start
yeah,
the cycle again.
yeah, and then it's like, geez, how much money do I need to put aside for therapy?
I know, right? Like my kids don't have a university fund; they have a therapy fund, right? Like you've seen those memes. But there is that real awareness now, I think, that we don't want our children to grow up to please other people. Like we recognize that when we please ourselves first, everybody gets better versions of us.
Yeah.
Like everyone gets served in a better way.
But I
Um,
think it's on every single level as well. I mean, one of the things that we're sort of working through at the moment is all the consent stuff around
mm,
like body consent and things like that. That whole, I mean, I remember as a child being told, oh, go and give so and so a hug. Oh, don't be
yeah,
rude, go and do that. Like
yeah. Go
the
and give
thought of
granddad a kiss goodbye. You
the
know.
thought of appearing rude was far worse than it feeling awkward for the child. And that's
Mm,
something that again is really like, there's so much conditioning in me that I don't like to challenge it, but I do. And it's a really interesting sort of place to have your brain in sometimes, where you are just, so much stuff is just purely automatic because of the way that I was brought up. And I wasn't brought up in a bad way, it was typical of society as was. And it's exciting that it's now changing. But what's
yeah.
been the biggest thing for you to now not worry about what other people think? What changed?
Honestly, I think it was calling in the people who love me anyway.
Mhm.
If I'm genuinely honest, I don't think it was like, there's been an internal shift, obviously.
Yeah.
And that has come from doing a lot of work around liking myself more,
Mhm.
um, and being more okay with who I am and what I do.
Yeah.
Um, but a large part of it, I'm not going to lie, is being with like my wife supports me, doesn't understand me, supports me anyway.
Yeah.
I have the most incredible business partner who is just like, just be you, because that's perfect.
Yeah.
I have an incredible network of friends. I have an incredible network of friends who support me unconditionally, who love me just because I show up as me.
Mm.
Um, and who I trust will tell me what they think, even if even if it goes against what I think, or even if it's potentially going to make me feel uncomfortable or bad or something. But they know that it's going to be received with the love that's intended. And I think that's a real shift, to be surrounded by people who are like, this is what I think, but it doesn't really matter what I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
Um,
think you've hit the nail on the head there. The fact that we have to start to take control for what we think, and
mm,
not pass that over as what other people think. Because I think one of the biggest challenges for me has been doing that external validation on something. I know that I should do something, but I better get
yeah.
25 people to tell me that that's the right thing to do before I actually do it.
Yeah.
And I think my biggest change is that since connecting deeper with my truth and who I am,
Mhm.
I'm now able to body test, to tune in, to do all of the cool stuff that is available, to be
Yeah.
able to know, actually, I know that's what I want to do. And to be
Yeah.
perfectly honest, it doesn't matter two hoots what anyone else thinks about it, because I know it's right for me and I know it's right for my family. And
Yeah.
that is an incredible sense of strength for me, to be
Yeah.
able to just I had a situation where, I'd always been sort of felt like I had to please other people. I may as well. It's when I spend time with my in-laws, who are delightful people. This is nothing. It's nothing to do with them. This is all me on my people pleasing, and the need to show up as a certain way. And then actually, when I started to realize I could just show up as me, and it didn't matter. I was actually more than capable of being who I was, and whether they approved or liked stopped being part of what made me decide how I showed up. And
Yeah.
that was huge. That was absolutely huge. And I think it's definitely improved the relationship. I mean, there are still moments where, I was brought up in the UK. I have a very different upbringing. I have a very different outlook. We're very different people, but actually we share a lot of common values. And I'm now able to see that a lot more than I probably did when I was so caught up in this need to please or need to be seen in a certain way, that I couldn't
Yeah.
see anything good in it. It was too hard. Whereas now it's very much easier. And also have my office to escape to. So
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I mean, I think you're absolutely right, and I think that's probably the part of the story that I missed out. That is important, is that when I learned to trust my own intuition around things, when I learned to know or understand how I know that something is true for me, then that allowed me to stand in it, like to hold space for myself and to stand in a little bit more power. And then I think the flow on effect of that is that you attract the other people. You attract the people who will support that, and who will honor that space that you're holding, because you do the same for them. So it is really, the first part of it is that just connecting with yourself. And I guess if you accept yourself, and if you accept that whatever it is that you feel in the moment is the right thing to feel, then you are far less concerned with what other people think and what other people are, going to say, or whatever. It's more important that you feel good about what you're doing.
Yeah, perfect. And this is one of the topics that we'll be talking about during the free coaching series. So it's
Yeah.
day two. We're going to go into it in a whole heap more detail, and there'll be some exercises just to understand where you sit on that people pleasing need to validate yourself on others. And I really want to say, totally normal. Like it's how 99.9% of people, certainly women, think. So
Yeah.
learning that that's okay is also was massive for me, and then being able to understand that actually I can do something about it was really, really cool. I'm not going to lie. So I'm
Yeah.
really looking forward to this conversation. It's one that I feel really, really passionate about. I know that as you tune in, as you connect more to your intuition, as you become more aligned with your truth, like your confidence grows, your ability to stand up in any space and just know that you're okay and that you're valued, and that the judgment just doesn't come into it, just makes life that much easier. So it's it's pretty cool when you can start to do that, and I mean it's a lot of what I do in my own stuff, so I'm just excited to bring it to the group and share it within here. So it's gonna be cool.
So Kirsten's just asking when the coaching series is, I think, and so it starts on the 19th in New Zealand, so it'll be the 18th in the UK, and it will play for the week. So day one is the 19th here, and so this particular conversation will be happening on the 20th here, but we'll drop a link to sign up, and you can sign up. You'll get emails every day with the details of what we're talking about and where to go. The calls will be held in Zoom, so they will be interactive. Obviously, we'll be, telling you what we think and sharing what we know about particular things. But there will be a workshop aspect where we sort of work through some stuff with you, ask your thoughts. There's an opportunity to ask questions and all of that good stuff. So it promises to be a really fun week. There will be prizes and all of that sort of stuff as well for, anything. Like we'll just randomly decide probably how we're going to go about that.
Totally.
Yeah. But
it does, and we get to.
yeah. But it promises to be a lot of fun, and an opportunity to explore a little bit more, like how do we become that wise woman that we want to be? How do we embrace that way of living, that awakened side of us? How do we embrace that and embody that in our everyday lives? And I can't wait. I'm excited. Plus, added bonus, get to hang out with us every day.
Yeah,
who wouldn't, right?
Lucky folk.
I know. I fully thought you were going to say something else then.
I considered it, and then I was like, it is Sunday morning in New Zealand. It might be a bit much first thing in the morning.
Blaspheme, yeah.
I have filter sometimes.
So proud.
So particularly as my 2-year-old literally copies every single word that people say at the moment. And the only swear word she's said so far was when my husband said bugger. I was like, yes, it wasn't me.
What I love about that, though, is that your thought was, what will everyone think? Right? So as we know and as we can see, no matter how strongly we are connected to our intuition, and no matter how much we honor ourselves and as many moments as we can, there is still always going to be times when it pops up and says, actually, you haven't fully shifted all of that. And that's perfectly okay, because I think as humans, you can't.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if you ever can, although my dad is pretty good at not caring one iota about what other people think.
There will be someone. It might just be a golf buddy that he met, that he cares about, but I think it's part of the human condition to want to fit into the tribe, and to want to be accepted and loved and be part of that without condition. And I don't think as humans we can fully be unconditional all the time. So but I just thought that was really cute that you just like straight went into that, like, oh, I care what they think. Wait a minute, do I?
I know. I think that's the difference. I now like check myself, whereas otherwise I'd have gone, oh my god, I care what they think. This means this, and the stories that I would have made up would have been long and complicated and very boring. So it's much quicker. It provides a lot more space to do the thinking that I want to think, rather than the thinking that I was doing beforehand. So we'll be back tomorrow. I don't think we've decided a time, so we will I think we might do a little schedule of when we're coming live this week, just so that people can obviously put it in their diaries, because they'll be so desperate to hear what we talk about.
So desperate to join the conversation.
Absolutely. That tomorrow we're going to talk about the 4 aspects of self. So that's really exciting. That's a really cool conversation. I'm not going to tell you anything more because you've got to come and learn. So that's one thing. Obviously we've got the coaching series starting, and there's just lots of cool stuff going on. So tell us if you want to hear more of these conversations. We'll do some cards this week at some stage as well, because we know that really gets people interested and they enjoy that. And anyone who signs up to the series before the end of the 11th of September, and the furthest point of
11th of July.
11th of July. Yeah, I don't know why I said September, as in today. Well, I can't even work out with but I think it's wherever they are whenever the 11th finishes, they can get their 3 cards. So you get a 3 card reading. So sign up on the 11th, and yeah, I'm not in September because that would be crazy.
It's early, and Ellie is a little sleep deprived, so bless her and her confusion. But yes, sign up before the end of the 11th, and we will send you a 3 card reading as part of your sign up process. But yeah, I mean, even if you don't manage to do that, like the coaching series is an opportunity to just explore a little bit more, have some great conversation about various aspects of who we are and what we do, and just connect it as well with a few other people. And already we have a pop-up group, and already the engagement and the energy in there is fantastic. And if you're lucky enough to be on Team Awesome, you're going to have the best week ever. So
this is Team Awesome has to really talk herself up. Those of us in Team Fab are just pretty cruisy, and we just know that it's all going to be fine.
Good story. You keep telling yourself that. If you can't tell, there's a little bit of competition going on behind the scenes as well. A little bit of smack talk happening. It's a really cool space to be in, and we're really grateful for everybody that's already in there, and for everybody that's going to join us. So don't miss out.
Yeah, enjoy your days wherever you are, or your nights, and we will catch you tomorrow.
Yeah, have a good day.